God, that guy, Jim Seward, sounds like it would have been a really interesting guy to interview.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Jim one day, it was a weekday. It was late morning. Guy comes in. It was the wintertime. Guy comes in and said, "Excuse me, I'm collecting for crippled children." And Jim had a wild hair up his ass that day and goes to the cash register, opens it up, and just takes all the ones and fives and just starts throwing them at the guy. Says, "Here, take it all. I think there should be lots more crippled children."
But you said he was like a beatnik, and
he was different.
He was fun though. I liked him.
Oh,
he had a great sense of humor. He made me laugh.
My parents hated him.
And once you got used to his sense of humor, he was a funny guy. I mean, he was always offbeat. It was I can't. It's like the Addams Family cartoon in the Washington Post. You know, he was always a little different, but.
No, he probably started smoking pot in the late 50s.
I remember after I became manager of Bethesda, I had my own keys and I'd open up one Saturday morning. And I'll never forget this. I don't know if I said it on tape or not yet, but one morning, Jim usually met me at the store, and we'd have coffee and we'd talk and find out what's going on. And I opened up one day and no Jim. So I went next door to Al Dare's sandwich shop and got my coffee and came back to the store and started opening up and getting the register squared away and checking in records and all, and people coming in that worked with me. And I get a phone call shortly after opening time, and it's Jim. And he says, "Can you hear this, Gene?" And he holds the phone up, and I hear the sound of crashing waves. He said, "I'm in Miami." He closed up that night, Friday night, drove overnight, and was in Miami Saturday morning.
He used to brag that he would occasionally, once a year or so, he would take a whole bunch of speed, drive to Miami, have a cup of coffee,
and drive back. And he always drove. I remember he had an Eldorado.
Yeah, white on white and white.
Eldorado with a convertible, and he pulled up to a light, and he had a phone in his car.
Yeah, it was one of the very first cell phones. It was huge.
It was a mobile phone. It was cellular technology. I don't know. Anyway, he pulled up to a light, and if the guy in the car next to him had one also, he had another. So he could pick two up and look over and say, "I got two. How many you got?" You know.
We used to. He used to send us out. The store would have price wars with the other record stores, and
we'd sell the cutoffs for 99 cents.
Well, back then you'd buy 45s were like 48 cents wholesale, and you'd sell them for 98 and 2 cents tax or whatever, and albums were 398 mono, 498 stereo, but they were 258 was the cost on them. But Waxy Maxis or Variety would have decided to have a sale, and they'd sell their singles for this weekend, all singles, 66 cents. So Jim would price them at 58 cents, and he'd grab 6 or 8 kids from the teen room and say, "Here, I'll give you $5 a piece," and he'd hand them all a stack of Xerox, or not, they didn't have Xerox back then, but mimeograph.
Ditto machine.
Yeah.
Dittos.
Little flyers, and he'd give me his Cadillac and have me go to Montgomery Mall, Wheaton Plaza, and drop off like 2 or 3 kids at each shopping mall. And we'd just plaster every windshield in all the parking lots. And then...
he was a character.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then he married Al Dare's 15-year-old daughter. 14?
Yeah, there was a sandwich shop next door in...
Al Dare, I loved him. He was a great guy. He took good care. He liked us. He took good care of us. Jim and I used to ride motorcycles together. I bought a motorcycle, 1969, and Jim went and bought a bigger motorcycle. So we'd ride together, and we'd park the bikes in front of the shop, and Al thought that was cool. Al Dare, sandwich shop next door.
I just remembered something. This is I believe before you started working there. But Chris Toby and John Hurd used to love to tell this story. A Saturday morning, places full of people. We also sold greeting cards. So there was one of these wire greeting card racks, and like a display, a picture of somebody, Man of La Mancha or something in front of the record bins. And I was back in the back and I heard Junior yelling, "Somebody get the front door, weeds on the way in." And they opened up the front door, and in comes Seward on his scooter. Greasy hair, every which way, wearing pajamas. He comes in, knocks the greeting card rack flying, knocks the poster of whoever it was, Robert Goulet or whoever it was, the other way, knocks all this shit over, gets off the bike, puts it up on the kickstand, does this to his hair and walks over to this little old lady and goes, "Good morning, ma'am. Can I help you with something?"
He was a character. Yeah, it's too bad he's not around.
Yeah.
I missed him. Even after I left in '72, I'd go in. Every chance I got, I'd go into Bethesda and swing in the store and say hi. He called me genius. My name's Gene, but when I worked the register, I was usually plus or minus a penny. And no one could do that. No one had ever done that before. And it freaked him out that I was that good with the register. They called me the genius because I knew how to count change.
Was there a big sign in front that said Empire Records, or was it a wooden sign?
It was on the brick a long time. It was on top of it. It had the big windows. It was a storefront. And the one door that came in, the register and everything were up front, and all the bins went along the wall. And then in the very back was a door to the teen room. And that's where Jim had the 8-ball, his favorite pinball machine. Mm-hmm. It was 8-ball. And I remember hearing him back there cussing at it because he'd lose the ball. He'd be back there for hours playing that pinball machine.
But it wasn't like a record. You didn't have like a neon sign or like a logo, or did you have it on the bags or anything? Or
well, the bags had Empire Music on them. Yeah. Jim was pretty low key, actually, from that standpoint. Sure. As far as I can recall. He committed suicide. I was sorry to hear he died. I think he killed himself in 1976. Wasn't it, Mike? Oh, he's out of earshot.
So that's too bad. He was depressed, I guess? Or?
He shot himself. He killed himself. He wasn't found for days. His wife had left him. And he had left a note saying that I am ugly. And that was his epitaph, was that he felt he was ugly. And he felt it was time to go. I don't have no clue. I don't remember how old he was. He wasn't very old. Probably about your age.
Really?
40s,
yeah. That's terrible. Wow.